and gentlemen, buckle up. Welcome to a no-holds-barred reminder on the greatest smear campaign in American political history. The endless parade of lies, the hoaxes, the distortions thrown at Donald J. Trump by the left, Democrats, intelligence operatives, the mere legacy media, megaphone, CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and more. From the moment he rode down that escalator in 2015 to his triumphant return in 2025 and beyond into 2026, where we are today, they've manufactured over hundreds, some say hundreds, of fabrications designed to paint him as a racist, a traitor, a dictator, a fool, and of course, the question is why? Simple, guys. Raw power. Trump threatened their globalist agendas, their endless wars, their open borders, their media monopolies on the truth. They couldn't beat him at the ballot box fairly every time. So they tried to destroy him in the court of public opinion. And for a while, it worked. Devastatingly. And these lies, impeachments, investigation costing hundreds of millions of dollars, riots, election interference, and a deep national divide. They swayed voters for the approval ratings and even endangered lives by eroding trust in the people, the populace. The beautiful part, though, truth always has a way of winning. Documents being declassified, witnesses recanting, and platforms like X letting facts go out there with truth. Today we go deeper, chronologically exposing the who, the how, the whys, and the fruits of this deception. Let's dismantle it. It started in 2015-16, the Russian collusion. That's right, the mother of all lies, Hillary Clinton's campaign. The DNC, the Fusion, GPS, the British ex-spy Christopher Steele cooked up this glamorous dossier, salacious, unverified Trump-Russia ties. Adam Schiff went on TV dozens of times claiming he had more than circumstantial evidence. CNN, MSNBC, and the New York Times ran with it nonstop. Why? To delegitimize Trump's upset victory. His presidency from Inauguration Day justified spying on his campaign via the FISA courts. Effectiveness? Well, catastrophic at first. The Mueller probe drained $32 million in 2 years, divided the nation, and convinced half the country Trump was a Russian puppet. But Mueller's 2019 report confirmed no conspiracy, no coordination. Durham later called it a Clinton-funded op. The hoax backfired spectacularly, exposing deep state biases and eroding media trust forever. Another lie in 2016 brought the mocking disabled reporter smear. The Washington Post, CNN, and late night comics looped a clip claiming that Trump cruelly imitated Serge Kowalski by flailing his arms. It was propagated by the Obama-era holdovers, anti-Trump pundits, to brand him heartless. Why? You want to humanize the attacks, turn moderates against him. It's stuck in the ads and debates, hurting his image short term. But full context, Trump used similar gestures for non-disabled people like Ted Cruz and others. The lie faded, but it set the template for out-of-context clips. Another lie, 2017. Charlottesville explodes with the very fine people hoax. Remember this? Joe Biden launched his 2020 campaign calling it the reason he ran. Kamala Harris, MNBC, CNN repeated it endlessly. Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people. Not true. We know it now, condemned white supremacists and neo-Nazis totally. Referring to fine people was his reference to both people on the side of the Robert E. Lee statue debate. But they ran with it. They took it in other directions just to continue the lies. Why did they spread it? They wanted to weaponize race, rally the left's base, and paint Trump as a racist hugely effective. It worked. Became a cultural meme, boosted Democrat turnout in the midterms, and haunted Trump for years. But even after Snopes and other clarified, it lingered because it fit the narrative. In the same era, all Mexicans are... Remember this one? I don't even think I'm allowed to say that word. Sorry, YouTube. Nancy Pelosi. Media twisted Trump's announcement speech. He said Mexico sends some of those are people and criminals, but many are good people, focusing on border chaos. Why? They wanted to stoke the xenophobia fears. It influenced immigration policy. And in 2018 midterms, though stats on the illegal immigrant crime rates supported his point. Another lie, period. In 2017 and 18, kids in cages at the border. MSNBC, AOC, Democrats scream Trump separated families and caged children. Come on, guys. Truth. Obama-era photos from 2014, which is what they were using, showed the same chain link facilities. Sick. Trump's zero tolerance, existing laws made him more strict. Why? The selective outrage portrayed him as a monster, energizing protests, forced policy, U-turns, and massively it was effective. Sparked national fury, court battles, Biden's reversal promises, which he didn't fully keep, by the way. Just another lie. 2018, Trump called immigrants animals. CNN, come on. They implied it, context, MS-13 gang members. They are animals. Notorious for murders. That's an animal. Why? They wanted to misquote him, fuel the racism charge, distract from the upcoming booming economy. It amplified a division, but tumbled under video proof. Fascist Hitler comparisons ramped up. MSNBC host called him that many times. No mass roundups, no one-party rule. Why? They wanted to scare the voters, justify the resistance, effective in 2018 and still going on, but overreach pushed independence away. Anyways, continuing, 2019, first impeachment. Trump pressured Ukraine for Biden dirt. Adam Schiff, shame on you, fabricated transcripts. Democrats claim the quid pro quo. Reality? Concerns over Burisma corruption, no proven exchange, and why? Revenge for the Mueller failure, and blocked the 2020 re-election. This hurt polls temporarily, but Senate acquittal exposed partisanship. Now the pandemic hits. 2020, the COVID lies. Trump saying to inject bleach to fight COVID. Now, come on, people. CNN, Democrats twisted his musing on UV light disinfectants internally as injection advice. Why did they do this? They wanted to paint him anti-science during the pandemic. Devastating. The poll showed trust in this handling, aiding Biden. Full quote was exploratory. Fauci later admitted similar ideas. Guess what? Laptop time. Hunter Biden laptop. Russian disinformation. 51 intel officers signed a letter. New York Times, Twitter suppressed it. FBI knew it was real. Why? They wanted to protect Biden's pre-election period. Now, come on. It was effective, wasn't it? It was for a while. Buried the story, swayed close races. Now audiences' credibility nuked on media and intel levels. Another lie. The falling soldiers, suckers and losers. They think Trump said that? The Atlantic? Shame on you. Anonymous sources, really? Debunked by on-record witnesses, including family. Why? They wanted to alienate the military. Lingered, but no proof. The big one in 2021, January 6th. Come on. Insurrection incited by Trump. We all know now it was fake. Pelosi, you didn't call the National Guard. You lied. And why? Impeach him again. Label supporters domestic terrorists. Led to endless probes, but videos now police issues. No direct incitement. Another lie recorded. Guys, don't forget, it has been proven in multiple ways now how the Dems were involved in January 6th, not Trump. Remember the recording where they played it 56 minutes later? Anyway, 2023, 2024, the bloodbath warning. Remember this? It was twisted as a violent threat by CNN that Trump was going to cause a bloodbath. He meant a bloodbath in the economy. Now, come on, we all know this now, but they ran with it. More lies. Dictator for a day. Remember this? It was a joke. He was taken out of context. They left, tried to make it real, and are still running with this one. They're still running with the dictator. No King's Day, remember? Perhaps the radical left should review their own actions if they desire to see how a real dictator would be acting. Come on, guys. Take a look at yourselves. Also, the national abortion ban lie. Tried to say Trump wanted a national abortion law. No, he wanted to turn it back to the states. Said it 100 times. Why? They wanted to scare the voters in the tight race, effective in turnout, but post-election fact checks fueled distrust. Now, the newest lies for the Trump administration, settling into his second term from 2025 and 26, a wave of fresh hoaxes, misleading narratives emerge primarily from media outlets. Shame on that legacy media. You guys just are sad. Democratic figures. These stories aim to sow doubt and chaos, but many were quickly debunked through official corrections, data revelations, and public scrutiny. Below, I'll break down some key examples with added context on what was claimed, why it was misleading, and how it unraveled. The one prominent case involved CNN's coverage of federal spending on transgender mice studies. Under the Biden administration, during President Trump's address to Congress in March of 2025, he highlighted $8 million in taxpayer funds allocated to experiments involving hormone treatments on mice, framing it as wasteful spending, right? I mean, is that wasteful spending or what? Making mice transgender? You can't make this stuff up. CNN initially fact-checked this as a false and misleading. Really? Said Trump was lying. Yeah, he ain't the one with the Pinocchio nose, suggesting the studies were solely about human health impacts from gender-affirming care, not literal transgender experiments on animals. However, the White House confirmed the details, pointing to National Institute of Health grants that indeed funded millions for such animal testing, including treatments mimicking gender transitions. And they were trying to study the effects like breast cancer risk and asthma influences too. CNN was forced later to update their article with this context, acknowledging that spending was real and tied to transgender-related studies, research, though not for the absurd purpose of altering mice's gender identity for its own sake. This episode highlighted initial media dismissals, often overlooked verifiable government expenditures, turning a critique of waste into a defended fact check that needed correction. I don't even know where to go with this. Representative Eric Swalwell, you know, the one who likes to sleep with spies, isn't that the one? Anyway, Democrat out of California, who claimed in February 2025 that no resident has had more plane crash. I said resident. President has had no more planes crash in their first month in office than Donald Trump. I don't even know how that's a thing or why it would be a thing, but it was a big fat lie. They actually went back, they fact checked him, and Biden had almost double the plane crashes in his early terms. But the bottom line is, plane crashes aren't caused by presidents. They're caused by bad maintenance, bad pilots. Let's keep moving. The Department of Transportation records show that all these accidents are not related to the president. Wow. Newsflash. Breaking news. Wow. Fact checks like the Washington Post labeled the comparison a fool's game, noting that plane crashes occur independently of short-term presidential actions. Hey, but Swalwell, his claim was exposed as a blatant exaggeration rooted in selective or ignored data. I would say out of ignorance. Anyway, January 2025, reports surfaced of ICE raiding a Chicago elementary school. You guys remember this story? Sparking outrage over fears of immigration enforcement targeting children in sanctuary cities. Chicago Public Schools officials initially claimed ICE agents showed up at the Hamline Elementary demanding entry to search the premises. They were turned away per protocol. Illinois Governor J. Bree Pritzker amplified the story, decrying it as a federal overreach. However, ICE denied any involvement, and it soon emerged that the agents were from the U.S. Secret Service. Investigating a credible threat to actually protect the school, it was possibly related to the TikTok ban. Anyway, how many lies can these guys do? How deep can it go? They just keep going on and on and on. They're still going on. I missed some. There's so many you can't even manage them all. The school misidentified these badges, leading to the misunderstanding about the officials that were at the school. The agents left without incident. No kids were swept up. No kids were deported on this trip to the elementary school. And for the truth to reveal, it was a routine protective probe anyway, unrelated to immigration. I move on. Critics also spread fears that the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by Elon Musk, he was slashing Social Security benefits under the guise of cutting waste. Stories claim DOGE efficiency drives would gut the program. Some reports highlighting improper access to personal data and office closures as evidence of broader attacks on retirees. But in reality, DOGE targeted fraud, abuse, the waste, the inefficiencies, estimating cuts of $1.4 billion to $7 billion, mainly through workforce reductions, not direct benefit slashes. Now we know DOGE could have hit their goal just in one state, Minnesota, billions missing, allegedly. Now, while controversies arose like unauthorized data breaches sharing in January 2026, these were isolated incidents and the core focus remained on trimming bureaucracy without altering the core entitlements, money we were going to give the people that they needed. Now, analysis from the groups like the Economic Policy Institute noted that such moves were more about sabotage perceptions. They wanted to really make it look like Elon was sabotaging our government than actual waste elimination. But no widespread benefit cuts materialized. And finally, media outlets highlighted stories of innocent fathers being deported en masse, painting the Trump's administration immigration crackdown as heartless. How could Trump do this? How could he send all these poor fathers away from their families back to Ecuador, El Salvador, wherever, Mexico? Well, cases like Kilmore, Abrego, Garcia, a Salvadorian, they deported in March of 2025. Prior withholding of removal were cited as examples of administrative errors sending family men to brutal prisons like El Salvador's CCOT. Hey, by the way, if you're not familiar with the CCOT prison story, I strongly suggest watching Nick Shirley's tour of the place. Nick is one of the only outsiders ever allowed in to film the prison, and it's an amazing story what they did over there in El Salvador. You got to check it out. It just shows that reform can happen and you can make a country great again. Okay, Abrego Garcia was accused of MS-13 ties based on police reports, and others like Frangel Reyes or Andre Hernandez had tattoos and histories misinterpreted but ultimately linked to criminal groups. All DHS data showed that while 40% of the arrests lacked criminal records, priorities targeted violent offenders, including murderers and gang members, with only 14% having violent convictions, but many more flagged for terrorism or organized crime. The innocent father's narrative often omitted these details, debunked through court filings and White House recaps. And these hoaxes weren't random, guys. They served a clear purpose, okay? To undermine the new Trump administration, resist reforms aimed at government efficiency, and shield entrenched bureaucracies from scrutiny. By amplifying misinformation, opponents hope to erode the public trust and slow momentum on priorities, like spending cuts, immigration enforcement, yet their effectiveness has waned significantly. Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, now expose falsehoods in real time through user fact checks, viral data shares, and rapid official resources. Now, while a more skeptical public has grown weary of recycled outrage cycles, as a result, these tactics increasingly backfire, highlighting the very inefficiencies and biases they seek to protect. Folks, this wasn't random. It was a coordinated strategy by elites terrified of losing control. Billions spent, trust shattered, republic strained. But the truth is, we have become a more skeptical, truth-seeking electorate. Voters demand facts now. Subscribe, share, question everything. The Pinocchios are exposed. Let's rebuild on truth. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts below. This is the dragon reporting in my lair. Goodbye.